What it do? What it do? Welcome to Black Hypocrisy, where the lines don't matter and no cash prizes are given for correct answers. I'm your host with an actual hairline, the Principati. Uh, I've been wanting to do this topic for a long time. Go really deep. Kind of hurt some feelings here and there. So let's talk. Because I keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. A man is fine until he's not. A man is good until he's gone. A man is just tired until that tired turns into a casket. And then, all of a sudden, everybody becomes a poet. Check on your strong friend. Men matter too. Speak up. Rest in peace. But while he was alive, while he was drowning, while he was screaming in silence, people just treated him like he was a machine. People treated him like he was a Duracell battery. Like he's supposed to take pain the way a truck takes miles. Just keep a driving, just keep a working, just keep paying, just keep producing. Just keep on being a man. And I'm telling you right now, that mindset is what's killing us. Not soft, not weak, dead. And before anybody wants to get all sensitive and junk, this installment of Black Hypocrisy is not men versus women. This is necessarily truth versus delusion. This is reality versus the script society hands boys at birth. Because the truth is, a lot of men are not okay. And we don't even have the English or the language to say it without being mocked, without being ridiculed. So, today, mock me, ridicule me, because we're ripping the mask off. This is Black Hypocrisy. Today, we're going to talk about men's mental health. Let's get it.
I just feel like I'm stuck in the same patterns, It's hard to break free when you're used to the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Serious issue of mental health and have personalized it just to them.
Men are not the only ones who struggle with mental health issues.
She does have a really good point, because she is a burning example of the fact that men are not the only ones with mental health issues, and she's just letting hers shine all the way across the internet. Here you go, girl. Here's that 1 cup of attention you ordered. Drink up. We can all tell you're really thirsty. Let me say this slowly, because I can tell that you're somebody who's just not that good with comprehension. Men's mental health has been marginalized and stigmatized for, well, always. And in the meantime, men make up the majority of suicides. Men make up the majority of people who struggle with substance abuse issues. And if we talk about our feelings, that means that we're weak. And if we don't talk about our feelings, that means that we're toxic. You take every new mental health catchphrase that you could possibly get your grubby little hands on and you weaponize it against men. You're toxic, gaslighting, narcissist. I'm not going to silently put up with the stigma anymore, and if that's a problem for you, you can kick rocks and flip-flops while you go chase traffic. Instead of complaining about women not having their own mental health month, start one. You clearly need it.
10,000 times more going on inside the head of a man than you have any idea. He's carrying burdens that you don't have a clue about, and he don't know how to express them, and he don't know what to do about it. And he figures if he puts it out there and communicates it, he's just going to be shot down, called a fool, called weak. So he carries it inside. And you have no clue the burdens and the hell that most men are carrying inside and not even showing you.
Man, I'm 42 years old and I've got these beautiful kids. I feel ashamed to call on this line and sit here and cry. But I'm tired, man.
Not everyone can smile more, okay? Like, some people are dealing with shit.
I'm
okay?
sorry.
And I come on here and I'm like trying to like be entertaining for you, but I'm miserable inside and like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm respected at all.
Men just kill themselves and no one cares.
I know at one point I sort of found myself on a 7th story just thinking, yeah, I could make that if I jumped.
I suffer from both anxiety and depression, and it can be a bit of a roller coaster ride. 1 minute you're feeling utterly worthless as a human, you'll never succeed in your goals or even the tasks that you set yourself that day, and there's this constant pressure of comparing yourself to everyone else around you who is seemingly doing so much better, and then suddenly it'll all be washed away by complete apathy and you'll feel nothing. Just entirely numb.
At my worst, I physically feel empty, I have no energy, breathing becomes weighted on my chest. I feel like I'm not in my body anymore.
I am a United States veteran with mental health issues. My mental health issues, aside from PTSD, did not come from the military. But I joined the military when I was 19, and I remained undiagnosed for bipolar disorder for 7 years after that. I was only diagnosed once I got hit by a car and broke my neck.
I was diagnosed with manic depression when I was about 11 or 12. Personally and almost personality-wise, I felt like a bit of a loose cannon. So I sort of retreated into that. I basically lost 10 years of my life just, doing drugs. But, I was kind of a functioning alcoholic and drug addict for about a decade, from 18 to 28, I suppose, which is when I met my now partner, my now wife. It certainly, until her, it was very difficult for me to establish long-lasting romantic relationships, because you want to hide the depressive side of yourself.
The only way I can describe it is sort of like you're sat in a room, everyone you love's outside, and you can see them through the window. And all you have to do is get up and walk outside to open the door, but you can't. You can't get up. Even though you want to go up, your legs won't move. So you want to do all these things, but your body won't let you do them. It's like debilitating. It stops you from doing things you want to do, even though you know you want to do it. Your mind tells you not to do it, because what's the point?
The way in which mental health is treated is as if it isn't a disease. I try my best to protect myself and others when I am having a hard time, but with no one else believing you, it's hard to do anything except just say, I'm sick.
Mentally, it does affect me as a person. My character changes. I go from being funny, cheeky, and banterful to shut off from the world. I close in, not wanting to talk. I feel like I just want the pain to end. In my head, I wanted to just like crash my car into a brick wall, to hang myself or to cut myself, or sometimes just hope that I would go to sleep and never wake up.
Time ticks by and you get older, and you know that time is essentially running out, as it is for everybody else, and you have this very distinct feeling that that everybody else in the world is having a better time than you are, which I'm sure isn't true. But to me, as somebody who struggles with my mental health, I feel that life is more difficult than it needs to be, or that it should be, and I resent that.
I fundamentally don't trust people. I don't trust you. Because for almost my entire school life, I was bullied. I've been punched, I've been kicked, I've been called names, I've been excluded, people pretended I didn't exist, people threw my clothes in urine. So to this day, people who I've known for ages, there's a little voice that goes, at any moment they're going to betray you. They're going to turn around, they're going to attack you, they're going to distress you, they're going to do something. Any moment that group of people you're talking to, that party, that group of friends who you've known for years, your family members, at any moment they're going to attack you, they're going to hurt you. So you have to stay vigilant. Now, if me talking like that sounds like that would be stressful. Yeah, this is what anxiety is.
I was eating really badly, wasn't going to bed when I should be, it was affecting work, I'd lost a lot of friends, and things like that, and it all started to pile up and pile up. So I sort of carried on in that state for a while, not really wanted to admit to myself what might have been going on, and that may be partly because of the stigma that's sort of associated with it.
If you are in a position where you are genuinely considering taking your own life, the last person you're thinking of is yourself. All you can think about is the people around you and how you, in your head, are actively causing more damage to their lives by being around. And the fact that you think removing yourself from the picture would be more beneficial for them shows just how controlling your mental health can be when it's at its worst, and just how important it is, more so now than ever. And I think it really is important for people to reach out, to talk to those loved ones, those friends, family, whoever you know who might need it, people you've not been in contact for years, maybe even days. Just send them a message. I used to be one of those people who would feel like I was bothering somebody just by sending them a message or trying to get in contact with them, and I felt bad for it. And I don't want people to feel like that. I don't want people to think that, because that's such a bad mindset. Never feel like you're annoying someone, never feel like you're getting in the way. Always reach out if you can, because it really does matter, and you reaching out will make them feel like they matter. And little things like that can make a big help, and possibly even save someone's life.
People think the deconstruction of a man is some loud, violent occurrence, this outpour of bitterness towards the world, and in reality, the deconstruction of a man is a silent film, a common surgical procedure that the world didn't know it was trained to do. The breaking of a boy is the world's quietest natural disaster. As a man, there is no such thing as being stuck between a rock and a hard place. You either use the stones at rock bottom to build a way out, or you get buried by them. Ain't nobody coming to save you. The entire world is trying to construct you into its perfect little image, and the people around you are the ones who fuel the process of your manufactured masculinity. Some of us are going to make it through assembly, but we need to watch out for our defective counterparts, because the whole world is going to use their flaws to define all of us. Luckily, most defective product is aware of its own shortcomings and tends to destroy itself given enough time alone with its imperfections. This abridged explanation of the process is how you become a man or a monster. Everybody knows what a monster does. Everybody judges the monster. Nobody questions its creator. Some of us are manufactured to make light of our peril, with jokes, if you will. Male comedians are magicians in this way, how they take their pain and airbrush it into something laughable. He, ha, ha, joke about a failed suicide. The crowd laughs, the curtains close, the comedian drinks all the way home. A man's tears are just funny that way. How they have to be translated to be accepted. How they have to be transcribed into an art form to be worthy of observation. How you have to bleed artistically to become a worthy topic of conversation. Funny how we can joke about a man's misery, but nobody taught the boy to cry. But they taught him how to fight. Nobody tucked him in at night so he doesn't sleep at night. Nobody offers protection to the protectors. Nobody provides the providers with provisions. Nobody looks after the overseer. Nobody has ever tried to guide the man who steers. Everybody judges the weak men. Nobody checks on the strong ones. Only other men know how subtle a difference before the transition. Nobody taught the boy to cry, so he would do it at all the wrong times. In the barber chair, getting casket sharp, remembering the funeral of a failed relationship. In the grocery aisle, breaking down because he's weighed down by the tears collecting in his baggage at a soccer game, remembering what it was like to be a boy running towards a goal. Most men will only experience unconditional love from their mothers, and some of us don't even get that. Most of us have never even felt appreciation or respect without conditions or hidden intentions. We don't know what it sounds like to hear, "I see you, and I'm proud of you. I'm glad you're here. You really make a difference." Yet the expectation is to constantly be displaying the strength and love that the world is hesitant in conveying. We're expected to have a thick skin but get judged if it turns to a hard shell. The first step in being a man is ignoring the hunger. Because yes, boy, you're going to be starving. Starved of attention, starved of affirmation, starved of love, starved of being told that you are enough. Step 2 in being a man is comfortability with replaceability. You are only as good as you are useful. You are only as valuable as you are needed by others. Should there ever come a day, boy, where you fail to provide everybody with a smiling face, then do not be surprised when they say all men do is take up space, and you are swiftly replaced. Step 3 in being a man is overcoming your fear of the fire, because almost everything you will ever try to build will go up in flames. Relationships, careers, hobbies, and yes, you are always to blame. Step 4 in being a man is understanding that by the time you finally get all the right answers, these questions will have already changed. You might achieve the strength of Herculean fiction, trying to balance the weight of all these contradictions. Be a man, they say. Definition unknown. Description keep changing. We men, so empty, so irritable, so this, so that. We get told what we are so much we've accepted that who we are ain't even up to us. The blame is always on us regardless. One guilty man's actions requires an innocent man's explanation. Otherwise, you're all guilty by gender association. There are 4 times as many male suicidal ideation because it's been hammered in our head that we're falling short of our societal expectations. Imagine being in a world of hurt for 100 different reasons during a nationwide emasculation season. There is a unique brand of sadness that follows being hated without reason. It ain't no secret while over 30% of us have attempted to stop breathing. Nobody even mentions the men who have succeeded. As the saying goes, every failure is one step closer to a successful attempt. There is no such thing as an attempted suicide. A man's soul dies long before his body has a chance to realize. A man with an old soul is just a boy who contemplated going ghost. For every woman that suffers the same fate, 4 men will follow her to the grave. And I try to hide the stats from the poet because he might romanticize them. He might mistake this tragedy for a love story. He might write a poem in place for the suicide notes that were never left behind because nobody taught him otherwise. So who's going to teach these boys to cry while they're still alive? A man with nothing to lose will view everything as something to take. A child that isn't embraced by the village will burn the village down. And he will stare as everything that didn't love him back contorts and cracks. He will ease his way into the fire until he finally feels some warmth.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go straight into the facts. Well, before that, I don't know if y'all caught it or not, but I changed my intro again. Oh, man, I really need to make more of those. But let's go straight into the facts. In 2023, the U.S. had well over 49,000 suicides. That's not from the Principality. That's from the CDC. And for men die at suicide at 3 to 4 times the rate of women. Women are the leaders at suicide attempts. Men are the leaders at full-blown suicides. And that pattern holds across the nation for decades. That's not Twitter, that's the CDC. Because people love mental health awareness until it makes them feel some type of way. People love hashtags until it requires actual effort. People love to say, oh, speak up, until a man actually speaks. But they skip over one part. Suicide ain't always dark clouds and sad music and tears. Sometimes suicide is anger, silence, workaholism, addiction, recklessness. Sometimes it's I'm good with dead eyes. I'm fine with a shaky voice. A lot of men don't, for all intents and purposes, look depressed. They look like they're just trying to survive. And society praises that. You know, we call it hustle. We call it grind. We call it what else? Responsibility. And then we act shocked when that man finally cracks. And that's the hypocrisy. Because really and truly, face it, the truth is, we don't actually want men healthy. I'm going to say that again. We as a society don't actually want our men healthy. Y'all don't want us healthy. We want men to be and remain useful. Let that sink in. Now let's talk about something that sounds small, but in large numbers, it kills. See, it sounds small to you, but in large numbers, men die. Loneliness. There's research showing a large-term rise in men reporting no close friends. The famous men have no friends conversation doesn't necessarily come out of nowhere. In the APS, the American Perspective Survey, or the AmericanSurveyCenter.org, they share a share of men reporting no close friends increased dramatically over a span of time, believe it or not. I'll read a snippet from that article, and I'll make sure I put the link in the description below if you want to read it for yourself. It reads, and I quote, "This friendship recession is particularly bad for men. The percentage of men with at least 6 close friends fell by half since 1990, from 55% to 27%. The study also found the percentage of men without any close friends jumped from 3% to 15%, a 5-fold increase," end quote. Again, I'll make sure I put that link in the description so you all can read that entire article yourself, if you want to, of course. And I know what people are going to say, oh, men need to open up. Okay. Open up. After reading that snippet, open up to who? Because for a lot of men, the friend group usually is what? Co-workers you don't trust, family that judges you, a partner who might just weaponize it on Mad Day. What else? The internet, where you get clowned for crying. Off the top of the dome, what, Call of Duty lobbies, or just simply nobody. So when a man says I'm alone, it's not always a dramatic statement if I'm being perfectly honest. Sometimes it's literal. And the worst part being, men are regularly trained early. They're usually trained to not complain, to don't ask, to don't cry, to not be soft, to not be needy, to not be emotional. So you know what happens? Men don't build emotional support systems. They build escapes. Those escapes may look like, but surely not limited to, alcohol, weed, porn, cheating, gaming, working, silence, anger. And then we blame the man for not communicating while we live in a culture that punishes men for doing exactly that. Another hypocrisy. Now I'm going to say this, and I personally don't care how you take it. Me saying something that's going to make people uncomfortable is really just Monday at this point. A lot of the world does not care if a man is happy. In Kansas, 100 trees just fell and no one heard it. Let me say that again. A lot of the world does not care if a man is happy. They care if he's functional. You know, they care if he can pay the bills, if he can protect, if he can provide, if he can perform. And if you fail at that performance, society treats you like you failed at being simply human. If you fail at that performance, society discards us like we ain't shit. Think about how men get spoken to when we're down. Man up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Nobody cares. Handle your business. That's not encouragement. That's just emotional abandonment, hiding behind a motivational poster. And it teaches men my feelings are just a liability. So what do? We bury those feelings. And when we bury those feelings, what do we turn to over time? That's a question. Don't all answer it at once. What do we turn to over time after we bury those feelings? The escapes. And when you bury stuff long enough, you don't heal, you rot. That rot shows up in explosive anger, coldness, withdrawing, substance abuse, risky behavior, self-destruction. And everybody looks at him and says, oh, wow, he changed. Nah, nigga, nah. He didn't change. Look at him like an iPhone. He just ran out of cloud storage. And let's talk about dope. Let's talk about drugs. Keeping it a buck. Not every man goes out with a note. Sometimes it's a slow exit. The CDC overdose data shows overdose death rates are higher for men than women. Now, I'm not here to turn this into an overdose lecture. Not at all by a long shot. I'm just saying the Bureau of Labor Statistics says a lot of men are self-medicating. Not because they're weak. Like the average normal person says, but because they're unsupported. But like earlier, men don't get taught emotional regulation. Men get taught emotional suppression. So when the pressure builds, the release valve is booze, alcohol, pills, impulsive decisions, fights, reckless driving. I don't care anymore. And society just sees the behavior. They never see the pain behind it. So the man, he just gets labeled as what? Don't all answer at once. Toxic. Dangerous. A bum. A wino. A drunk. A failure. And sometimes, yeah, the behavior is most definitely unacceptable. See, but if we never address the cause, we just keep recycling men into the same outcomes. It's like the fire department yelling at the black smoke, but just ignoring that 3-alarm fire across the street. And I'm going to just be blunt. This isn't just a one-size crisis. When it comes to overdoses and suicides, white men have long had the highest absolute rates, primarily because they outnumber, any other race in the country. But recent CDC data shows black men's overdose deaths are rising fast. In some age groups and some regions equal to or higher than white men's. And when we talk about suicide, yes, overall, white men still have the highest rates because, again, they're the majority. But suicide among black men, especially younger black men, is climbing faster than it is for white men. Which means this is not just a white problem anymore. This is not just a silent minority. This is a media silence on crack. No pun intended. We love to talk about black child victims. We love to talk about black incarceration stats. We love to talk about everything that fits a viral soundbite. But when the stats show black men dying more often from overdose and increasingly from suicide, radio silence, website silence, headline silence. Boy, I'm getting banned after this. Because men of every race are bleeding. But only some of those wounds get headlines. Primarily, the only time you ever hear about a man's suicide is if he drove his car off a bridge and it held up rush hour traffic for 4 hours. Or if it was suicide by cop. Or if he was someone famous. Or if he took his whole family with him. That's the only time you ever hear, mainly, about a man's suicide. That's pathetic. That's sad. Exit the video now if I told a lie. Surely you don't want to be listening to a liar. Now let's talk about the solutions. People love to recommend with zero follow through. Go to therapy. Okay. Truth be told, the Principality is pro-therapy. But being honest, therapy costs money. Me personally, I'm lucky enough to have insurance. But therapy availability is limited in a lot of areas. Men already feel the stigma behind it, and many men don't really trust it because they've never been taught that vulnerability is safe. I'm raising my hand to that. Hashtag guilty. And even when men try, sometimes they get hit with dismissive providers, rushed therapy appointments. Raising my hand again. They get hit with just breathe advice for a life that's burning around them. Or they have to wait months for help. Raising my hand again. I may as well just keep my damn hand up talking about therapy at this point. So the man just gives up and goes back to what he knows. Silence, survival, and what else? Those escapes I mentioned earlier. And then we say he didn't get help. No. He tried to get help in a system that treats mental health like a luxury add-on, like Call of Duty download content. I'm about to let y'all go because I'm about to step on some toes. If you only care about men's mental health after a man dies, you ain't shit. You're a shit person, a trash human being. There, I said it. You don't care about men's mental health. You mourn because you care about aesthetics. If you clown men for crying, then repost, check on your strong friend, you're part of the problem. You ain't shit. If your idea of supporting men is telling them to man up, you're raising future funerals. If you only respect a man when he's useful, don't pretend to be shocked when he stops believing he has value. And men, let me talk to you too. Let me talk to you in my LA Knight voice. If you think suffering in silence is strength, you've been brainwashed. That's not strength. That's neglect. Strength is saying, I need help. Strength is saying, I'm not okay. Strength is saying, I can't carry this weight alone. That's strength. That's power in one's mind. Because the alternative isn't tough. The alternative is death. Here's what I want people to do. Real actions, not vibes. If you're a man within earshot of me, pick one person and tell them the truth this week. Schedule a checkup, whether it be physical health and or mental health. Cut the I'm fine lie down by 50%. If you're using substances to cope, tell somebody, be honest about it. Build up one routine that helps. Take a walk. Go to the gym. Journal. Therapy. Whatever actually works. But those escapes I mentioned earlier, at times, those ain't it. If you're someone who loves a man, any man, a dad, brother, cousin, friend, it could be a homeless dude on the street. Check on him without mocking him. Don't turn his honesty into a weapon later. Don't make his pain about you. Encourage professional help and be there. Be present. Because you never know that text, that call, just you pulling up at that nigga door and knock just may be that contact he needed to pull that gun out of his mouth before he pulled the trigger. And if you're raising boys, teach them emotional vocabulary. Teach them emotional vernacular. Teach them boundaries. Teach them that crying is in fact normal. Teach them that asking for help is in fact normal. Teach them that being a man includes being mentally stable and mentally sound within oneself. And if you're in a workplace with men, stop glorifying burnout like it's a badge. Now let me give y'all the harsh reality, ladies and gentlemen. Society is fucking fake. They say men should open up. But the minute a man opens up, they call him soft. They call him weak, sassy, emotional, bitter. They call him an incel. They call him a crybaby. They call him a mama's boy. Women say, oh, we want a vulnerable man. No, you don't. Let's be real for a second. Hashtag example. You got women hopping on these podcasts like it's Shark Tank for husbands. They got 4 kids by 5 different baby daddies. A relationship resume that looked like a criminal background check. But she wants a high value man. 6 figures. 6-pack. 6 emotional degrees. No kids. No trauma. No debt. No baby mama drama. No bad habits, no past. Newsflash. Bitch, you are the past. And I'ma say what y'all thinking in my example. Ma'am, you didn't accidentally have 4 kids by 5 different men. That's not bad luck. That's just bad decision making. What they call that? Bad pussy management. But somehow, the man who meets you is supposed to overlook all of it, absorb all of it, finance all of it, and emotionally stabilize all of it, while bringing 0 complications of his own. That's not a relationship, bitch, that's rehab. Oh, and plot twist. That one man pops up. He says, oh, you know what? I'll step up. You know, y'all love that phrase. Step up. He says, I'll step up. He loves the kids. He sacrifices. He invests in the kids. He tries to build something stable. Then life does life shit. Life slaps the piss out of old boy. He loses his job. He battles depression. You know, he finds out what anxiety truly is. He admits he's overwhelmed. He says, I'm not okay. Then suddenly, he's weak. He's unstable. He's not in his masculine energy. He's giving feminine vibes. He's too emotional. Oh, but I thought you wanted emotional intelligence. Or did you just want a man who understands your emotions and not his own? Because let's tell the truth. A lot of women don't want an emotionally available man. They want an emotionally useful one. Oh, Lord. There's that difference. They want a man who can sit there, listen, validate, support, and fix shit. But never crack under pressure. Never succumb from his own issues. Never bleed, never break, never need. They want Superman, but they keep dating Clark Kent and get mad when they realize he's just human. Women say men need therapy, but the moment a man says, my therapist told me I need boundaries, oh, now he's toxic. Now he's controlling. Now he's acting different. Oh, that's another phrase y'all love. Of course he's acting different. He stopped tolerating chaos. Yeah, let's talk about standards. You want a man with no baggage, but you come with a U-Haul truck of emotional furniture. You want a man who leads, but you don't want to follow. You want a provider, but you also want to be independent until the bills show up. You want vulnerability, but only the Instagram kind. Not the ugly kind. Not the I'm drowning kind. And let's get brutal. A lot of men are just exhausted. Exhausted from being told, open up. Then mocked when they do. Get made fun of when they do. Exhausted from being told, communicate. Then punished for their honesty. Exhausted from being told, step up. Then replaced the second we stumble. And nobody want to say it, but a lot of women are creating the exact emotionally detached men they complain about. Because if every time a man shows depth, he gets discarded. So yes, he's going to shut down. Not because he's heartless, but because he learned. If you require perfection from a man, but refuse accountability for your own patterns, are you really looking for love? Or are you just looking for a sponsor? See, black hypocrisy isn't about hating women. It's about calling out the double standards. Because men are human too. We bleed too. We break too. We struggle too. And if you can't handle that, stop saying you want a real man. Because a real man comes with reality. Y'all don't know what the fuck y'all want sometimes. A lot of people want performative vulnerability. The cute kind. The kind you can post on Instagram. Not the real kind. Not the kind that says, I'm angry. I'm ashamed. I feel like I'm failing. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't feel respected. I feel invisible. Because real vulnerability comes with mess. Real vulnerability isn't always a happy, clean conversation. It's pretty messy. And people don't want mess. They want men to be machines. Y'all want us to sit up here, pack up our emotions, look at you, say you're beautiful, and smile and nod. And I'm speaking in general here. I know it's not all women. There's some amazing women that actually understand. But again, speaking in general, y'all want us to work, pay, protect, and shut the fuck up. And then we wonder why men self-destruct. It's like we're running a 24-hour factory but pretending to be shocked when the equipment breaks. And don't get it twisted, some men do horrible things. That's true. But you can't fix outcomes without fixing inputs. You can't keep feeding our boys, don't feel, don't cry, don't talk, don't need. And then act shocked when they grow up emotionally illiterate and mentally exhausted. Then think you was the best mama in the world. Go sit your emotionally unstable ass down. But there's light at the end of that proverbial tunnel. Because I'm not ending this like a funeral. We can get better. We can heal. We men, we can learn emotional skills. You know, we men, we can build friendships, you know, at some point through learning and mental rewiring, can stop carrying pain like it's a personal trait. And the culture can change too, one household at a time. That's what I'm here for. That's what I aim to do. So here's what I'll say. If you're a man listening and you feel that dark cloud looming over your head, you're not alone. Even if it feels like it. I know your pain. I've been there. And in a way, I'm still there. And still learning. And if you're still here, that means you too still have time to learn. And you still have time to rebuild. You still here for a reason. If you just didn't want to pull that trigger, if you just didn't want to jump, think about the people you may hurt if you would have did that. The people of whom just may not know how to approach you. You're here for a reason. Even me. Everything that I've been through and dealt with, I'm here for a reason. If you're a man that may have just needed some positive energy or some positive words, or just someone who understands, I got you. If you just needed to hear it from me, I love you. You're not out here alone. Take that journey. It's a long journey of therapy, sometimes medication. Learn your triggers. Try your damnness to stay away from them. No need to be ashamed. But that's that help. You'll be doing what's needed on your end to keep yourself away from things that trigger you, that bothers you. Men are not always okay. We just say we are. We say I'm good. We say I'm straight. We say it is what it is. Because the moment a man admits he's not okay, he risks becoming the punchline. He risks being called weak, soft, emotional, unstable. So we lie. Not because we're strong. Remember what I said earlier, that's not strength. But because we're trying to survive. And let me keep it $150. Even me. As I sit here doing this monologue with y'all. With my eyes watering. Trying to talk tough. Breaking down stats. Calling out hypocrisies. I'm going through it too. Death, stress, depression, chronic pain, responsibilities that don't stop, pressure that just don't know how to let up, and I still show up. Somehow, I still talk. Somehow, I still try to push forward. Somehow. But that don't mean I don't feel it. That doesn't mean I'm not tired. You'd be hard pressed to find a man who truly has it all together. Most of us are duct taping our cracks and praying nobody noticed the leaks. A lot of women don't understand that. Not because they're evil, not because they don't care, but because society never trained them to see it. Men's pain, for all intents and purposes, is just invisible. And when we finally speak on it, it gets weaponized. Oh, you're insecure. Oh, you're emotional now. Oh, so that's why you act like that. We open up, it gets stored as ammunition in a backpack. So yeah, I know why men stay quiet. I know why we don't call the therapist. Why we don't talk to our boys about certain things. Why we'd rather self-medicate than self-reflect. Because vulnerability feels like walking straight into traffic on the interstate. But keeping it real, that silence is what's killing us. Literally and figuratively. That journey I talked about, the journey of self-reflection, of accountability, of therapy, of breaking generational curses, that's not a weakness. That's war. The war of the mind. Each of us suffering on the inside with this have like 5 or 6 different people living in our subconscious. That man is at war in his subconscious with each of them niggas. That man on that journey is choosing to confront his demons instead of becoming one of them. And I'm not here to preach off a mountaintop. Player, I'm walking that road with you. Bro, I know what y'all deal with. I know what it's like to drink yourself to sleep. I know what it's like to have to cry, to break down in a car after a loss. I know what it's like to feel like a video game is the only aspect of reality that you control. I know what it's like to push people away who actually care about you because you yourself think they'll never understand or actually get you. I know what it feels like to carry a ton and pretend it's a pillow. But that's the damage. That pretending doesn't heal anything. I'm slowly learning that. I want y'all to learn it too. Doing the work does the healing. And that's the part we have to start normalizing. This is black hypocrisy. Honesty and logic from a real perspective. And today, that real perspective is simply this. A healthy man is not a weak man. A man who asks for help is not a broken man. He's a man that's trying to live. And as a man, I respect the fuck out of that. I'm the Prince of Petty, ladies and gentlemen. Men, work on yourselves because nobody can do that work for you. Take your mental health seriously because no one is going to take it seriously for you. Women, when a man says he's not okay, it's not a time to make fun of him. It's a time to drop what you're doing and actually understand. I'm out.
I see my hoes. I took a drip on my hoes. This whole nother level shot. I got these hoes on their toes.